It began a long time ago, back in 1974, when it was set up, when the little theatre was being set up in the format that it now is, as the theatre in Sheringham. And of course it had a theatre wardrobe. It was very small then, but over the years it was built up the stock over what has been 30 years now, in fact 40 years. The stock's got bigger and bigger. We've now got about 10,000 items here, if not more. There are too many things even to store in the wardrobe here, and so we now have hired another unit out of the country which is full of goodness knows how much more stuff, which is slowly being sorted, and we're slowly sort of vetting the stuff that we have. You might say almost sort of purifying it, in the sense that as good stuff comes in, we then once a year we have an annual sale when we sell off the stuff that perhaps isn't as good as what's come in, just so that we've got enough space to actually store the best range that we can have. So in a sense there's a constant turnover of costumes, hopefully always improving. So we are volunteers. The directors are volunteers, although they're powerful volunteers because they can do whatever they like, except they can't benefit from it themselves, only the community can. So it's effectively one step away from being a charity. And I'm glad to say now that it is, from the very parlous state that it was in, it now is solvent. I can even say it pays corporation tax, and only successful businesses pay corporation tax. We now have a board. It's set up as a community interest company, which means that it's run like a private company, with directors with all the powers that directors have to run it as a commercial venture. But the only difference is that the assets are owned by the community. It's basically a thriving business. It could thrive much more. Basically, the sky is the limit as to how busy or large it could get. The only thing that limits it is the number of people who can run it. I think the thing that I like most about it is meeting members of the public who come in. You can never be sure exactly who's going to walk through the door or what they're going to want. Well, I think the thing that we're certainly becoming known for best locally is the 40s. Sheringham has a very, very large, one of the largest in the country, I gather, 40s weekend. It's always in September, and it's associated with the railway particularly, and there are bands and 40s swing and goodness knows what, wartime events. And as the community wardrobe here, we find that we're in enormous demand. For example, this last year, or last summer, we let out well over 160 full 40s costume. Some are uniforms, some are men in spivvy suits, some are elegant 40s ladies, some are Mrs. Mop type wraparound apron, fag in the mouth. That's the period that I've most experienced in now, and so I suppose in a sense I've warmed to it. I've got a pretty good feeling for the 40s and read up a bit about it, and I know pretty much. I think probably that in terms of the stock that we have here, our best area of expertise is 40s, and to be quite honest, we could let out every 40s outfit we have. We just need more. So for example, the first year we had about 50 and let them out. Next year it was about 100. Last year it was about 160, 170. We're constantly getting more outfits, and every one of them really will go out next year. So this is our sort of growth area, and we've got absolute guaranteed clientele for them. And the only sad thing is, this last year we've had to turn loads of people away because we just simply haven't, we let out all the 40s outfits that we have. So that's a growth area for us, and it's the one that I find most interesting.